Everybody, this is Dr. Jesse Jackson III, the best-selling author and facilitator of the Don't Kick 'Em Out book and training series, which I am extremely proud to say has helped thousands of educators this school year, specifically with issues that they were having with particular students in the classroom. It gets very detailed, and we're very honored that 17 of our schools this year have doubled their test scores, which means they were able to get behavior under control. They were able to improve their relationships internally, meaning working better as a team and working better with the parents. So listen, we're honored by that, and we're going to continue doing things the way we do it. I am a big proponent of actually doing my own work, so I not only take the stance as a speaker, I am a trainer. I am one who will actually help you do it and walk you through the process and support you while doing it. So that's something we are extremely honored by, and we take very, very serious. The success of our schools is something that we take extremely serious. You being successful, you being able to say, hey, listen, hey, we raised our scores. Hey, listen, we had this amount of gains. We have this amount of value added. We're able to cut our suspensions in half. That's what I'm about. That's what my entire program's about. That's what I'm about. That's why we work so hard, because it has to be done. Any way outside of actually doing the work is not going to work. We have to do the work. So now we're moving beyond this age of just having speakers, where speakers come and say some things to motivate you, inspire you, and all that. That's great. But the next step is implementation. And many people get a lot of great ideas, listen to some of the best speakers in the world, but you don't have the wherewithal or the follow through to actually implement and follow through what the speaker said. So what I recognized a while ago was I need people to actually do what I'm saying, actually carry it out. And only one of the best ways to do that is to actually help them to do it by being there. So we've done it that way. So if you want to go into your next school year, this is some things you need to evaluate. And if you don't evaluate them, you're going to have bumps, because the first thing is, moving forward, the training program that you implement has to be one that individually helps the teacher, helps the parent, and helps the kid. What we found is these kids don't know how to act, and anything outside of consistently training them in behavior expectations, not telling them, training them, is going to leave you frustrated, flabbergasted, and saying, what's going on here at this school? Home training is a program that has to be taught. What we're finding out more and more is that there are some serious gaps in the knowledge of our students, of our parents, and of our teachers. Our teachers assume people know what to do. They assume kids know that that's wrong. They assume that the kid knows that's inappropriate. And like we say, we assume no knowledge. When you work with kids, and you have to assume no knowledge, because what that allows you to do is always stay in the space of what we call an instructor. Always teaching, assuming that people don't know. Like, one thing that we gloss over a lot in our system, we assume that adults know how to work as a team. And what I found was, in my behavior practice and studying schools and working with schools, is that the adults who work there don't get along. It is just like amazing. And it was like the thing that we assumed that was going on, or we assumed was no problem, is actually the problem. So the adults don't know how to get along. Adults don't know how to work together. So you have to teach them how to work together. You have to teach them what is socially unacceptable in a team environment. Talking about your colleague, talking behind folks' back, talking about your boss. You don't do things like that. People don't know. They've been doing it so long, they think it's all right, and they think it's okay, and it's absolutely not. The next part would be the teacher and the staff understanding behavior patterns. And what does that mean? You have to understand, are you the cause, are you the trigger, or is it pre-existing? And for 98% of all teachers, you are not the cause of this kid's problem. That comes from the parent. That's why I said the parents have to get the same training program that the staff is getting. So if I'm giving that program to the staff, and I'm telling the staff their expectations and how they can better relate to the kid, I have to train the parent on how to better relate to their kids as well. I have to train the children on why they are the way they are. Listen, this is what I did. We did this in New York, and I did it for babies. This was baby school. Shocking, right? I asked a group of, it was preschool to first graders. So it was pre-K, K, and then a first grade group. We brought them all. And I asked the kids, I said, tell me why some of our peers act bad in class. And a 6-year-old girl stood up without hesitation, and said, because a lot of us get treated bad at home, so we come to school and treat people bad. If I could have stopped and took a human letdown break, like, what? The 6-year-old just said it with no hesitation, like she gets it. We're having problems at home, what the 6-year-old said to me. And so those problems at home, I come here and drop it on you. So the teacher has to recognize I'm not the cause. But see, that's a lot of our teachers take it personal. They get offended. They are doing this job in a personal space. When I'm telling you, if you're working in this brand of education, if you do that, you're going to burn out and stay offended. I'm telling you right now, it's not like that. I'm telling you, if you are taking it personal like that, and you have that personal chip on your shoulder, and the kid refusing to learn or being a jerk in the class, you're internalizing it as a reflection of you, you're going to lose this battle because the behavior chart says that's not accurate. You're not the cause. However, we did find 90+% of our teachers are triggers. So they actually trigger the kid into this, to these frenzies, to this dysfunction, because you actually sometimes sound like the mother who they're not in harmony with. You, a lot of times, kind of make them feel the same way others did that caused a lot of the damage that we're trying to deal with. Many of these situations are pre-existing already. Sometimes the parents tell us, sometimes they don't. But the teacher is a functional trigger for the issues. So that means the teacher has to be trained in awareness. Awareness of people, of particularly people that might be broken, might be emotionally injured. Another thing is, if you have over a 35% free and reduced lunch population, you're going to have to accept the facts your school is in functional crisis. People have, once again, America has miscalculated what poverty is. Poverty is not money. No one's going to sell me that poverty is money. Some of the most impoverished people in the world have the most money. You can see some of these ideas that people are trying to force down our throat. That's poverty. Poverty is deprivation internally, bankruptcy of the human spirit. Your hope meter's on zero. You're in a bad emotional space. That's poverty. And it checks out. As we look at the symptoms and signs of poverty, it checks out all over the world. Poverty is emotional, and it impacts your mind and your human spirit and the way you act and conduct yourself. And it's facts. And so if you're saying you have a 50% Title I population, your program is changing in the direction where you have to take another approach. This is beyond adding more staff. This is now becoming, I have to have the right people who actually understand what we're trying to do and that can at least help to work on the kid. What are we trying to work on? These top 7 traumas that I continue to try to share with people. These are the things that cause depression, traumatic incidences, things that happen to you along the course of your life you had no control over. They happen to you. These are things that are around you, and they impact your emotions. They impact how you feel. And when we do not get help for these things can last forever. They can be long-term emotional damage if you don't get help. And what we found is that many of our teachers have as many traumas as the children. As many as the children. And if that's the case, then that means we have to make a move towards promoting the type of emotional health that allows us to work better together. Here are these traumas, and we keep showing them, keep saying them. Death of a loved one, abusive relationships, divorce and broken relationships in our parental unit, infidelity, watching our parents cheat on each other, watching people lie to each other. And now that causes you problems and issues with trust, financial issues, financial hardships, sexual abuse, molestation, which is aggressively being shown out and acted out in our schools. Mother and father rejection. How I always ask the group, how do you heal from if your parents are the ones that treat you the worst? I haven't found out how to do that yet. Okay, I don't know how to do that yet. I mean, if you try to figure it out. Now, no one can come up with these crazy answers and like they got the answers. This is what people are dealing with every day. Our staff is dealing with it. All our kids is dealing with it. And they're kids, they're babies, and they dealing with it. So once again, then you see here, number 7 is a lack of an academic foundation. What is that? That means your parents are the ones that are supposed to give you education. If they don't, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. If your parents don't academically do their job and help you at that foundational period, you're going to struggle. So now what we see is a lot of our parents are academically struggling. They don't read well. They didn't have a good school experience. So now there's been a disconnect in what the kids did. And it's facts. And it's sad. However, when you look at these 7, like I always tell young people, and this is the purpose of talking to the kids, just because these things have happened to you, that is not your reason to be a loser, to abuse teachers, to quit on yourself. But at least we have to first identify the feelings and the status of the children before we try to move forward. You can't just be like, oh, get over it. Life's hard, get a helmet. I went through it too. Wow. No, guys, you can't do that. You have to, this is where empathy, not sympathy. I don't need you crying. Because what we do is a lot of times these things will have people crying. This will have the teachers all broken up. What do we do? They've been through so much. Listen, after you cry, I'm still going back to this reality. So your tears are not helping me. That's not empathy. That's sympathy. Sympathy is always going to put me in a bankrupt space because it don't help me. Empathy works with me to find a way out. And that's what this is about. So if you are going into next year, we have to understand that the only way that we're going to be successful is if we approach this thing, and managing behavior and managing these realities comes through training. It comes through making people aware of what we're really dealing with. We know that going forward, we're not going to be only able to just help the teachers. You're going to have to help the teacher. You're going to have to help the bus driver. You're going to have to help the secretary. You're going to have to help all support staff. You're going to have the parent, and you got to help the kid. You got to help the fathers. You got to help the mothers. Separating them a lot of times will get you more parents to come in. We did that strategy at one of our schools in Detroit, and the principal there is a genius. Actually said, let's do a daddy-daughter dance. They did it on a Friday night in one of the most ravaged areas of the city. Ravaged. Crime, the whole shot. Got 250 dads on a Friday night, 80 degrees. You can't tell me. I know how this has to be done. All I told them to do is don't have a parent night. Individually invite the dads because they'll come if they get an invite. You can't do parent lump together. You got to know the population you're trying to help. You got to understand poverty. Poverty is not a color. Poverty is an emotional condition. And I've had the misfortune of coming from poverty, understanding what are the best ways and approaches to help people who are in poverty to lift them out. And it has to be done in a very strategic, a very clear way. And when it's done, I'm telling you, you will not regret it. I think we're working too hard. And the reason why we're working so hard is we're actually missing who we're trying to help. We're trying to bring a middle-class mindset to help impoverished people. That absolutely does not work. Middle-class mind to help impoverished people. It doesn't work. We're going to burn out. It's going to suck all our energy up. We're going to be frustrated, and we're going to get marginal results. I'm a high performer. I like to succeed. I like to see things turn around. And the more you know about how to get in there, the more efficient you'll be in getting results and your outcomes. And that's what we're here for. Dr. Jackson, I'm excited. Looking forward to working with you soon. I'll see you next time.